one cover from comics history to hang on your wall, the original art, what's the one you want?
X Factor 87 by Joe Quesada.
You rolled your eyes when you had an answer like that.
Either that or Flash 79, which was done. It was the last issue of Return of Barry Allen. It's an Alan Davis cover. Yeah.
Super nerd. I mean, this is just nerdy, but it would either be there's a Kamui Gaiden and there's a Japanese alternate comic manga magazine.
Golden Kamui?
Not Golden Kamui, but it was the original Kamui. It only came out here. It was from Sanpei Shirato. It's a ninja comic that I'm obsessed with. It came out here, The Legend of Kamui, which was like the follow-up, but it started originally in like an alternate scene comic book, and he had a magazine called Garo, and the covers of that magazine are, I think, like one of the most beautiful things. They're super, super modern. Like if they came out today, everyone would give them prizes. But like any cover of that magazine would be worthy of having the original on the wall.
It's it would be the Jack Kirby cover that he did for a Female Furies series that never got off the ground.
I didn't even know that exists.
Yeah, it does. It exists, and it's amazing. And I tried to like get it so that we could use it as one of the covers or like a variant or something, but it wasn't possible because of the rights and the licenses and stuff. But you can see it. The Kirby Museum has posted it on their on their Twitter sometimes. It's you can Google it, but it's amazing, and I would love to own that piece.
I do. I have one of the Ditko Wood covers from my Stalker series hanging on my wall. I have one of the Legion covers by John Byrne hanging on the wall. I have a Phantom Stranger cover with Phantom Stranger and Deadman by Jim Aparo from one of my stories. I got to have some pretty good stuff along the way.
I have it, and it's an original Olivia Quipple page from the original House of M.
I have one of the spreads from Mariko Tamaki and Jillian Tamaki's This One Summer on my wall, and it's pretty great. I like it quite a lot. I've got that, and I have a page from Tilly Walden Spinning that is very good as well.
It's what we homaged for the plot. So we do a Vault Vintage line for the plot where we homage other industry giants from the past to history. Anyway, House of Secrets, I believe it's number 92. It's the first appearance of Swamp Thing. It's Bernie Wrightson, and so I'm a huge Bernie Wrightson fan. If I could actually afford to own that, that would be on my wall. But I did get the reprint from DC and put ours side by side. So,
yeah, I think it's funny. Speaking of homage, I'm gonna throw a curveball because this goes in the plot. We did another homage for Pet Sematary, who the artist
Linda Finnemore is her name.
Linda Finnemore, who didn't do many book covers. I had always thought that there was because so many of the early Stephen Kings were very similar, and I thought there was like a Stephen King painter, but there's not. But that was one of my favorite from my youth. From my life, that Pet Sematary cover is one of my favorites, and we did homage that one. We did it was like a secret exclusive variant here, and I would love to have that original Pet Sematary Fenimore on my wall. That'd be great.
What's that? What do I choose, or what do you
choose? You get anyone. It's a mythical question. You get anyone you want. What do you want?
I feel like mine would be the same as many people's, which is, I would the Dark Knight Returns. The first cover, like that book changed my life, but now I would probably, I don't know. The one thing I'd say too is that I have a piece of art that means the world to me, which is that when I was 13, I waited in line for Todd McFarlane. I only had like $80 that I had saved up on my birthday, and instead Todd gave me a page that was worth at least $300 of Spider-Man. And I still have it framed, and that to me is like, it's a symbol of not only like, incredible success and sort of, diligence and commitment to your art and to all of that. It's also a commitment to being
cool guy.
To remembering who put you there. So, yeah, that.
I would love an original page from Sandman. That is high on my list, and I've kept my eye on a few of them, but they're pretty pricey.
That's different, because I think my favorite cover ever is
Oh gosh, it's an Infinity Gauntlet crossover issue of Silver Surfer, and it's a Ron Marz story, and it's when Thanos has defeated and killed all of the characters on that like altar. Yeah, and he's holding Silver Surfer up by the neck. It's an amazing image. I don't want that to hang on my wall though. I think it'd be a little scary. I don't know. What do you think?
Mine is one from Mark Silvestri, run on X-Men, on Uncanny X-Men. It was Wolverine hanging from the X. I cannot remember the issue exactly, but he was like battled the Reavers and he lost, and he was like hanging there with the X in black, and I think some crows or eagles flying in the sky. It's amazing. I don't know if I would. I would hang it. Yeah, I would hang it. Yeah.
Anything that Jack Kirby did, but I'd want a Commandy cover.
Okay. So an obvious answer, but there's some of the old Steranko Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff that's just incredibly beautiful.
Probably again Isola, because I'm absolutely in love with that book at the moment, and all of their covers are just fantastic at the moment.
This isn't comic art, but I would kill to have this. Okay. You know the movie Harvey with Jimmy Stewart? The painting of him with like Harvey, the giant rabbit, like sort of like with his hand on like Jimmy Stewart's shoulder. I would do anything. I would pay any amount of money to have that painting hanging in my house over my mantelpiece.
First thing that occurred to me was Terry Dodson's cover of Generation X issue 50, which just has sentimental value for me because it was like one of the first ever superhero comics I read when I was a wee whippersnapper, and I probably reread the comic like 50 times, and it's just that sort of thing that I remember as like the opening of my eyes to the world of comics.
Oh, crap. There. I know. It's was it Cougar? I think it was Cougar. It's a Wolverine versus the Juggernaut cover that is. It seemed like from the back of Wolverine and just like the massive Juggernaut in front of him. That was ever since I was a kid. That was one of my favorite covers the whole time, and I think it still like amazes me every time that I see it. So definitely that one.
I think I would want a John Byrne Alpha Flight or Fantastic Four cover. I'm a huge fan of John Byrne's work. He's had a lot of personal views, which I found personally repugnant.
The first issue of Deadpool, because it would drive my brother nuts.
What my answer for that be? I'll tell her there's a Bill Sienkiewicz page from a book that I won't mention, but it's one of those things I saw as a kid and went, oh, comics can look like that.
Right.
And it's just a stunning page. And I was in a comic book shop in LA when I lived in LA, and they had it on the wall for sale. But I'm a broke comic book artist, and I needed some money before I could buy this.
All right.
And I finally got the money, enough money to buy it, and went in there and it had been sold.
I feel ya. I had an Iggy in the
Sorry it's not a cover, but if I could have that page on my wall right now, I want that page on my wall.
Arthur Adams' New Mutants Special #1.
And why?
I'm a big Arthur Adams fan. One of my biggest influences in my young learning how to draw comics. Looked at his work all the time, and I love that story. It was a great New Mutants story. The cover is amazing with all these New Mutants versus all these Asgardian brutes with Loki and the Enchantress looming in the background. Wraparound cover, and just so much detail in that. It's such a beautiful cover.
AF-15, Amazing Fantasy 15. Greatest cover in the world, in my opinion, ever, all time.
Do you have that one?
No, man. But what's amazing about that cover is that Steve Ditko, they printed the Steve Ditko version, and Ditko's the reason, I think, that Spider-Man is the most popular Marvel character. Version, isn't it? It's the Kirby version on the cover, but the Ditko version is fascinating. They didn't use it, even though Ditko's art in the interiors is, I think, the reason Spider-Man's all weird and interesting and is so voicey, but the cover's Kirby, and it's so powerful and so Kirby. Yeah. It's awesome, man.
Man, that's tough.
Tough question.
That is a tough question. I do not have a good answer for you. Damn. The one immediately sprang to mind to me was the Romita Spider-Man cover, which is a trash can cover. I don't remember the Spider-Man No More.
Yeah.
Or probably a Kirby FF cover, probably like Galactus trilogy. You know, like I'm obsessed with Jack. I'm going through my my middle-aged guy Jack Kirby obsessive period pretty intensively right now. So something Kirby.
I relate in many ways to that. One of the first comics I ever got was the Kevin Maguire Illustrated Justice League from '86, I think it was. And I got it. My dad used to take me to this corner store. He had his best friend was a tailor, and every Saturday morning my mom would sleep, and he'd bring me and my brother to the tailor. We had to sit there and be quiet while he and his friend talked. So he'd buy us comics to keep us quiet. So that's one of the first comics I ever bought, and it has the whole team kind of in the set with Batman in the middle. And I read that comic probably 100 times as a kid. So that would be the one for me, just for sentimental reasons. So.
Recreations. He has done many recreations.
And they are very expensive. I have looked into it.